So every time there's a Jake Paul fight, the very first thing I do is I go online afterwards to see how many people are saying this fight's rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged, son. There was no way that was real. And here are all of the, evidence pieces. What? Here's a video where obviously you can see that Anderson Silva did not even get punched by Jake Paul. He just pretended to get punched and he went down. Look at that. Oh, Logan Paul. You can see right here that actually, Floyd Mayweather's actually carrying Logan Paul on his back because he had knocked him out, and then he carried him so that he didn't go down. It is the most predictable thing ever. Now, after last night, I was like, I wonder if they have the audacity to say that that was rigged. And I could tell you unequivocally that there are idiots so dumb that they actually still were posting that on the internet, that it was rigged. That fight, the Mike Perry and Jake Paul fight, rigged. Okay, so I just wanted to start off with that because I can't ever be surprised anymore, or shouldn't be, by how stupid people on the internet are. I don't understand. It still surprises me every time, though. I'm like, no way. No way. No way. But yeah, they really believe it's rigged. So there are people out there that are that dumb. All right, so another Jake Paul fight in the books, and Jake Paul obliterated Mike Perry. But you know what, dude? That was very predictable. I know I wasn't talking about the fight very much because, sorry, I don't know if you guys have checked my subscriber base, but the last week and a little over a week has been quite the journey in the Jesse on Fire world. Yeah, and if I was going to get into specifics on that particular point, I've gained 200,000 subscribers in 8 days. So, yeah, a lot been going on over here. We can talk about that later. As a matter of fact, we will talk about that later. The end of this video, I'll tell you how I over doubled my channel in the last week without talking about combat sports once. But nonetheless, when it comes to this fight, it was very predictable because Jake Paul is enormous and Mike Perry is not. I have been right next to Mike Perry, literally right next to him, and I'm bigger than he is. Not by a lot, but a little bit, and I was like, damn. I was like, he's a dog, son. That guy, obviously he got beat down last night, but I'm going to show you a clip here in a second just to demonstrate how iron this guy's chin is. Dude, this sequence right here, this is one of the ones where I don't even know if he got knocked down in this one, but how did he eat these? I don't understand. And Jake Paul looked good, but guess what? You want to know what we're going to talk about today? How does this fight translate to the Mike Tyson fight? Because I think a lot of people are like, oh man, Mike Tyson's in for it. He's 60 years old. Jeez, how can you expect Mike Tyson to fight against such a young buck? He is going to smash him. It's like, all right, okay. Because listen, dude, I respect Jake Paul immensely. I see this entire show as what it is, a show business, okay? This is show business. Jake Paul's not trying to be like, yo, bring me all comers in boxing. He's like, give me good matchups that I can sell a fight around, and it's a very winnable fight. And bottom line, that's what he's doing. Mike Perry's not even close to as big as Jake Paul, not to mention Mike Perry stands stationary. He didn't move his head at all. Had his hands down, didn't move his head at all. Like that works at BKFC because he's just like, go ahead and throw something because if I land one punch, your teeth are in the back of your throat. Boxing glove is different. It's different. Now, I'm not sure how different it would be if you actually got like some real boxers in BKFC. That's what I've been saying forever. Is like, show me what happens when you get like real serious, very skilled boxers in BKFC or boxing with MMA gloves. I am very curious to see what that looks like, But nonetheless, that style certainly did not work last night. And he got fired because of it. Conor fired him, dude. Okay? He fired him. Now, I would imagine that a lot of people probably heard that and are like, he's not really fired. And I'm like, are you sure, dude? Are you sure? Because guess what? Well, let me rewind. Here's why you would assume that he's not fired. He's the biggest star in BKFC, right? Or at least he was. Well, is, right? Yeah, that's correct. Do you know what his contract looks like? I'm just saying, do you? I know one thing about his contract now because of what Conor said, which was that he had one carve out in his contract that he could fight one fight externally. I don't know why on earth BKFC would have given him how much he's getting paid. You know, like he's getting paid in BKFC. Like he's making a fortune in BKFC. Why on earth would they have given him the ability to fight external of a fight of his choosing? That's just crazy town, you know, because it sounds like the organization did not want him to take this fight. And I believe that 100% because I know what happened with, am I allowed to say that? I don't know. I know what happened with another fighter that was a heavyweight champion, you know. I mean, it's Alan Belcher, right? Like with him, they did not like you know how Alan Belcher was the heavyweight BKFC champ and now he's not, you know, and it was kind of weird. Well, maybe that had something to do with an external fight also, you know? So like, and also Mike Perry, given how much money he might be making, I mean, Conor might be looking at it like, I mean, Conor's an emotional guy and he also, I think flew off the handle. Listen, dude, I don't understand what he's doing. As a matter of fact, let's actually start right there. Actually, let's start right here. Watch this sequence and let's just, you know, take a look, dude. Watch this sequence. How did Mike Perry stay up through this one? All right, here, I gotta mute this just in case. Watch this. Boom. Crazy, dude. How did he eat that uppercut, man? I don't understand. It's bananas. Anyway, but yeah, so Jake Paul obviously finished him off there, and now we are going, oh my gosh, that's, and Nick Diaz's return is postponed. That's a whole other story. But let's watch this real quick, and we'll talk about Mike Perry's reaction, and then what Conor McGregor said, and I'll tell you what I think about this because I can't imagine this is good promotion for BKFC and Mike Perry. You know, Conor's I'm really worried about the impact on Mike Perry's brand if he loses this fight, and he loses, and then it's like, well, how could we make this much worse? You know. Well, how can we just pile gasoline onto a fire that's burning through his career? He's like, you're fired. You don't know nothing. Never mind. Just watch.
Mike Perry reacts after a TKO loss to Jake Paul and responds to Conor McGregor's tweet. Perry was stopped by Paul in round 6 of their cruiserweight fight Saturday at Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Jake was for the most part dominant throughout the entire fight, scoring 2 knockdowns in rounds 1 and 2. Speaking to media shortly after...
Again, I'm just going to stop that right there just to say Mike Tyson and Mike Perry have nothing in common. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And we're going to get into that because I am telling you in absolute plain English, you have learned nothing about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight from this fight. I mean, aside from the fact that you're like, okay, Jake has a good jab. This is taking nothing away from Jake. This is just about Mike Perry and Mike Tyson. They are completely uncomparable. And I've been saying this forever, but nonetheless.
After the bout, Perry shared his first reactions to the loss. Here's Platinum.
I was trying to find it on him, trying to find a right hook to the body, trying to use my jab to set it up and see when I could possibly hit him with it. I just was never able to even see it. I think he was just too fast. He kept his feet moving. I expected that. He grabbed me. He tried to grab me, and it wasn't as much as I thought he was going to grab me. He used his movement. I parried his jabs. His right hook hit me easier than I expected, but I blocked it a couple times like I thought I would, but then, it just kept coming, and I made a couple mistakes and didn't block some of them, and they hit me, and that was fine. Like, I'm used to that. I be taking hits. I be doing that shit, so no big deal. Eric?
Perry also took to X, writing, "Congrats, Jake Paul. Shout out to Nate Diaz, who went 10 rounds with him. Thanks to everyone who came out." Jake responded, "Shout out to you for stepping up and showing out."
Oh, and yeah, by the way, Jake Paul called out Alex Pereira. The kid can market a fight, man. The kid can absolutely market the shit out of a fight. I mean, he's like, it's unbelievable, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say he's not taking that fight, dude. He ain't taking that fight. He is definitely 1,000% not taking that fight, nor does he want it. If he really believes that he wants Alex Pereira, he's out of his fucking mind. Straight up. Out of his mind. Continuing.
Then Conor McGregor, who's part owner of the BKFC, shared his thoughts, seeming pretty unhappy with how the fight went, tweeting, "Hey Mike, You're released, and you can go and compete in your smelly, dirty boxing championship thing. The smell of it, good luck. You're fired.
And again, I just want to say this really quick. You don't know how much money Mike Perry makes. It is possible that he makes so much money in BKFC that they're like, you're not worth it anymore. You know what I mean? They're like, you just lost. You're not worth the money. I mean, I don't know, dude. There's also a high probability that Dave Feldman is like, Jesus Christ. Shut up, Conor McGregor. Jesus, man. Shut up. No drunk tweeting.
Perry responded, saying that Conor can't fire him because he's also a part owner of the business.
Damn. That's crazy. Honestly, I didn't realize Conor was, if that's how big Mike Perry is to Conor, Conor's smaller than I realized too. I guess it's common sense. He fought at 145. But damn, that's crazy. And I'll tell you exactly why I say that right now is because, dude, I saw this happen. I don't know why this didn't register. I don't know. I never was thinking about like Mike Perry's size. You know, like it's like you forget. You know, you forget in some cases. In this case, I forgot that I completely know exactly how big Mike Perry is, and so this was. But like Conor fighting at welterweight, is insane when he's this big. Straight, I mean, seriously. And I'm saying that like having been around a lot of, well, you know what? That's actually not necessarily true. Gilbert Burns looks like a person who, like, Gilbert Burns is not much bigger than this either, actually. But, man, I mean, Kevin Holland, I guess he's fighting at 85 now. Kevin Holland is 12 feet compared to these guys, dude. Kevin Holland is so much bigger than these dudes, man. But anyway, let's continue.
Perry then said he'd fight McGregor in bare knuckle.
No, man, I appreciate you talking about it, whatever. He doesn't have a promotion because me and him are both owners of BKFC, so he can't fire me. We can fight in bare knuckle. Look at me, I lost to Jake Paul. Why don't you go fight Jake Paul in boxing with the gloves on? I think it would be worse than Conor McGregor versus Mayweather.
McGregor replied.
Okay, so Conor is in a very enviable position in that he doesn't have to fight, dude. It's so crazy. Like, he just dropped out of this fight, you know, with the toe. Now, if he ends up headlining the Sphere, like I anticipate he will, okay? If they end up headlining the Sphere, then that gives him a lot of leeway in terms of like, you know, like being able to talk, because I'm still assuming there is no fucking way that he really pulled out for a pinky toe. You know, I just like, honestly, it makes too much sense that they pulled him to put them in the Sphere, you know, but there's been some weird stuff since then, dude. Honestly, like it's one of those things where like, I'm basing so much of my opinion on, it's like, I'm giving him credit for the historical record of his career where like the guy always fights, you know, he always fights. And if it really was a pinky toe, then what are you doing? I folded my pinky toe 90 degrees this way. It was completely out of the socket, the pinky toe, and then broken in two places. And I never stopped training. I just taped my toe to my other foot. Now, jiu-jitsu, obviously not the same because I'm not throwing kicks and whatever, but like, you don't need that much time for it to heal. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, we can't fight in June. It's like, all right, well, do it in September. That's plenty of time. Plenty of time. But, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, in terms of, like, is this Conor's in a position to be yelling at people about fights right now? But he is. That's the thing. He's a tycoon. He's a tycoon. But, man, I don't like this look at all, though, dude. This is fucked up. You know, the guy just lost. Again, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. It's possible, you know, if Conor had passionate conversations with him about not taking this fight, and then Perry was like, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway, Conor McGregor. And Conor's like, we're building something here, all right? We're building something. Don't put it all at risk for a Jake Paul fight. He's much bigger than you. He's huge. He's about to fight Mike Tyson. You are a little person. You're a small person like me. And this is me, both Jesse on Fire and Conor. It's not a good idea, Mike Perry. He's like, I'm doing it anyway, Conor. You can't tell me what to do. And then he goes and gets beat up. And so Conor's all, you're fired. Thank you. Thank you for making your own decisions. Again, I just want to come back to this. I can pretty much guarantee you the BKFC is never signing some big franchise, contract with someone and then giving them contractual ability to just go fight in some other promotion without them controlling it. I mean, there's a reason UFC does this. It's the same exact reason why I'm like, oh yeah, John Jones and Francis Ngannou are going to do a crossover fight. Maybe if Saudi Arabia pays the UFC $100 million, you know what I mean? And the UFC already has someone like set to go to be the new heavyweight champion in the UFC, because the damage to the brand is enormous. Now the UFC can absorb it, but like BKFC literally has one star, and look at what happened. You know what I mean?
Michael, you are not any owner in the BKFC, not an iota. You have the tiniest minute dot of a share in Thriller, the social media video app, which is promising in fairness, but it's a speckle you have. You hold nothing in bare knuckle, not an iota, and trust me, you are out, bro. With no feelings, do your thing in your dirty pants championships, and who knows, down the line, but you won't be straight back in my ring, that is out straight. I wish you well in the 6-ounce MMA sparring gloves, and what that thing was, God bless.
So what's funny about that is like, Conor's like, oh yeah, hey, why don't you just go run your own promotion, dude? Get out of here. Get out of here, all right? I don't like it when people are the franchise fighter and then they launch their own promotion. It's not cool. And you're all, right, you mean you were supposed to fight International Fight Week and now you're BKFC. I'm in for it, for the record. I am 100% in for this, okay? I want Conor McGregor to fight every night. I want him to run, BKFC. But I mean, Mike Perry's basically just trying to do the same thing as you, my man. And if we're throwing rocks at people who lose fights, you know what I mean? People lose fights. This was not a good idea, though, for Mike Perry. I will certainly acknowledge that. And listen, dude, matter of fact, I need to say that at the beginning about the level of risk that both these guys took tremendous risk taking this fight. Because what happens if Jake Paul loses? How's that Mike Tyson fight look? How's that Mike Tyson fight? Not very good. He's got a lot of money riding on that, and it's going to be a huge event. First Netflix live show, all that. Bottom line, that was a lot of risk. However, when you're talking about level of risk in terms of opponents, that's something very different. And you got to keep in mind, Jake and Mike Perry had sparred before. They'd been in there with each other. Okay? Jake Paul knew he was going to win this fight for sure. Mike Perry, walking people down, walking down welterweights in BKFC is not even remotely close to the same as being up, 2 weight classes to fight against Jake Paul with boxing gloves on. It's just not the same thing at all. And Jake knew that, obviously. You have to give Jake credit. You have to give him credit. I mean, first of all, aside from the fact that he looked good, we got to give him credit for how he's managed his career. It's a masterclass. Straight up, dude. It's a masterclass. People are like, oh, well, he's just picking these, whatever. Well, you're watching though, right? You're watching. So I don't understand how do people look at this in terms of oh, Jake Paul's a joke who's not taking real fights. It's like, right, but you watched, right? You did watch. Yeah, but he just needs to stop saying whatever. It's like, guys, when he says whatever, challenging Alex Pereira, he's doing what he's best at. He is a master marketer. You think he's taking an Alex Pereira fight? Of course he's not taking that fight. Obviously. But he's got everybody talking about it because he's a genius with that. You know what I mean? Anyway, all right, let's continue because, we just got to get back. I really do need to talk about him, Conor McGregor firing him and all this other stuff.
The MMA community react to Mike Perry's TKO loss to Jake Paul. Kamaru Usman tweeted, heavyweight versus welterweight, damn. Followed up with, good finish from Jake. Aljamain Sterling, I know there's a size difference in a lot of Paul fights, but the man is constantly improving in each fight. Credit to him for that part. I would like to see him fight more guys his size like he did with the Fury fight. He could do something in the sport for sure.
Well, you don't know. You have no idea if that's true. You have no idea if that's true. And I'm not saying that as a knock on Jake. I'm saying Jake is surgically picking his opponents, and he's doing a fantastic job of it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, a fighter has a window that they can fight in, right? And every single time that they fight, they have tremendous risk on the table. If they lose, you can't take losses in this game, dude. You cannot take losses. And so if you can build a spectacle, essentially start as a baseline YouTube boxer and build yourself up to where Jake Paul is. You have to do a really good job of picking your opponents if you're going to win and be able to market these fights well, which he's done both. And credit to MVP for putting on a great show. Again. It's a great show, man. I know multiple people were there and they said it was awesome. And, I was at the Nate Diaz one and that was so sick. It was so fun. It sounded wild in there, dude. It sounded wild in there. So, but in terms of he could do something in this sport, he's doing something in this sport right now. He's doing something right now. But I think what Aljo meant was he could do something make a run or something. I mean, and there's just no way to know that because he has not been tested against anyone who's even remotely credible in terms of just being a pure boxer that's his size. And I'm saying that as a positive towards Jake. Why would you take a fight that you think has much higher risk if you have this fight over here that is much lower risk and has the same, upside? Now, I think he has drastically underestimated Mike Tyson, and I think he's going to pay for it personally. But that obviously completely depends on Mike's health. If the Mike Tyson that was at the Roy Jones fight comes out there and he's going 100%, man. I mean, Jake Paul was punching a stationary object last night. He was walking him down like this, dude. He's a bap, bap, whap. So we'll find out, dude. Maybe, it's been a few years now and Mike's not at an age where a few years doesn't matter. And he just had this ulcer, you know what I mean? I have no idea what's coming out. But if he even in any way resembles the one that came out for Roy Jones, I mean, I don't see Jake landing. Jake might land a handful of jabs. He'll land some of that. He'll land that jab sometimes, but not heavy. And he ain't never landing that overhand right. That is not happening. He's never going to land that uppercut. I don't think, unless he hurts Mike with a jab, which seems unlikely to me. Mike Tyson is. There's nothing about Mike Perry that resembles Mike Tyson in the ring. So here's the only other thing here. I wanted to, so Jake Paul fired back at, Conor McGregor fired back at Jake Paul. Jake Paul fired back at Conor, and then Conor fired back there. I'm just going to skip the part where Jake Paul calls out Alex Pereira because, yeah, right. Okay.
Jake Paul fires back at Conor McGregor. During the post-fight press conference, Paul responded to McGregor's tweet and reacted to Conor firing Mike Perry from the BKFC.
Hey, that's up that he fired your BKFC champion, but I told you that was going to happen. I told you exactly what was going to happen. He was big upping his boy Mike Perry. I said, okay, Conor, after I up Mike Perry, then you're next. So Conor's on Twitter all the time. He's on his yacht all the time, but guess where he's not? In the ring fighting me. So he can talk all the he wants, but the notorious MMA is scared of Jake Joseph Paul from Disney Channel. And I put that on my mama.
Alex.
Oh, man. That's funny, dude. That's funny. Listen, dude. In a boxing match, I don't think Conor wants that, dude. I really don't. Conor is smaller than Mike Perry. He doesn't have knockout power like that at that size. Fighting against a guy who's 200 fucking pounds, who cut down to 200 with boxing gloves on. Did you see him throw anything in that Floyd Mayweather fight that looked like it would have hurt or stunned Jake Paul? Jake Paul whipped that motherfucking ass in boxing. Not because he's a way better boxer than Conor. He's just too big, dude. He's just way too big. If their skills are even moderately comparable and they're that much bigger. And Conor has amazing knockout power at 145 in UFC. Maybe the best ever. His knockout power at 145 in UFC is, rivaled maybe only by Ilia Topuria. But still, Ilia has to land these massive overhand rights to put people down the weight. Conor was a surgeon, and if he touched you, you were done. Conor's power at 45 was bananas. But dude, do you? I can hit things real hard. Do you think that you think if I punch a person who's my size, it's going to be the same as if I walk up on someone who's 390 pounds and hit them? It's size fucking matters, man. You know what I mean? All right, so listen, the call out is just ridiculous. But anyway, Mike Tyson, I still think should be considered the favorite in that fight if he looks like he has traditionally looked previously. Now, really quick, let me tell you about what happened in my life in the last week and this channel. So I was in Mexico last week, right? And in Mexico, it's hard to manage a channel when you're in Mexico if you have a studio, right? Like I try to go live, I try to do videos, whatever. I went into the week like, okay, I'm not letting this entire week go by without me putting up, content. And the second day we were there, the Trump thing happened. And I literally think that I probably saw, aside from people who were watching it live, I think I found out what had happened faster than anyone because I got an alert like immediately he was still down on the stage when I looked at my phone and I was watching it at the pool, like, oh my God. So I ran upstairs and I did a live stream about it. And the next day I was like, okay, no self-respecting YouTube creator is going to go this day without putting up something about the president and what happened. You know what I mean? And so I just threw something up. I'm talking threw something up. I just talked into the camera for a solid, 25 minutes about it. But I was heated for sure, obviously. And I uploaded it. I sent it live. I came back a few hours, or 2-3 hours later to look at the numbers. And I was like I'd never had a video do over, maybe like 400, like low 400,000s, I think was my max. And the video after 2 hours had 700,000 views. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, dude. And my subscriber base had gone up by like 11,000 in 2 hours. Okay. To put that in perspective, in 2023, I gained 39,000 subscribers in all of 2023. Okay. By the time I did my live stream later that night, because I just went live, like, man, I gained all, welcome to the channel. I got all these new people. I did a live stream. It had 21,000 concurrent viewers, which actually ended up being 24,500. So I had almost 25,000 concurrent viewers on my live stream. And that live stream got 3 million views. So those two videos ended up getting 1.8 on the first one and then 2.9 on the second one in one day. And it was like, I couldn't even wrap my brain around it. I gained I think in the first day or something, I don't know. I think I gained like 100 something subscribers. It was it was insane. And obviously you get paid associated with the number of views you get too. So it's like, I do this. This is all I do, averaging around 2 to 2.5 million views per month. Okay. Well, you could do that math, right? I had 1.8 million on one video. That's a low month. And then 2.9 million the same fucking day. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. I get home and, first video I put up here, when I got back in the studio, did 3.5 million. All of this stuff about the Trump thing. 3.5 million, okay? My channel has grown by 200,000 subscribers in 8 days. And quite the ride. I'm still in this weird spot because now I'm like, all right, well, clearly there is a massive appetite for me talking about, that. But I love combat sports, so I'm still doing this, and I will always continue to do this. Exact management of how I'm going to do it is a little bit on the. This is this is uncharted territory, dude. My view count on the Trump. The Trump, the thing that happened was literally the number one story globally, right? And if you went and looked at my views versus the absolute biggest creators in the world, the people I've been watching forever, where I'm like, oh, the biggest in the world. I was smashing them. And I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand, man. I don't understand. So again, I always knew that I was going to, my entire plan, I can find a billion times I said this. It's my plan is I'm going to use combat sports to get into the door because you need like a niche, you need a niche to grow in. And I was like, I'll use combat sports and then I'll expand from there and get into much larger addressable markets. And it's like it's one of those things where just like that, you're in Mexico having a good time, and then boom, everything you set out to do is now reality. It's like, wow, awesome. I'm very grateful. I don't know what I do from here, but clearly my profile has grown immensely in the last week, and I'm very happy about that. And I appreciate all of you guys that have been with me since the beginning. So that is what I've got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. I will continue to do this forever. I love it, and I love you guys.